I say all the time that your people do the project work, not plans, not AI,
Nope.
not pieces of equipment. It's people. That's always the most complicated part of a project. Are the personalities and the people. And sometimes you'll have overwhelming group of stakeholders that are happy about the project and they want the project to move forward and they want to get involved. But there's always that one. It just seems like there's always one that's a bit obstinate. They always kind of stand out or throw up objections or kind of get in the way. And
Right.
you have to, even if there will always, even if that one is kind of like, compared to your worst project, that one's great, but on this project, they're the problem child, as it were.
Right.
And so it's how do you manage that personality? I like what you said, that it's politics in a way that you like. It's a word that, don't talk about politics, but everybody knows it happens. And so you're kidding yourself if you don't. It doesn't mean you have to like it, but it means you have to deal with the way that
Agreed. And it doesn't matter which party or what your beliefs are. You, as a project manager, when you're over influence and you're overseeing multiple stakeholders, I believe everybody is entitled to their opinions. That's fine. I will never, ever, religion, preferences, everything. I'm fine with that. But like in my head, I have to be prepared to navigate differently because some people's preferences and opinions are going to get the better of them. And we see a lot of heated dialogues and discussion and points that are more sensitive that maybe aren't always as sensitive. And so even understanding how that influences people and being prepared to diplomatically handle things is good.
Exactly right. That the office politics are these power struggles or a perception of power or a perception of a threat that are very real to that individual that may have nothing to do with your project or what you're trying to accomplish. And so that introduces a risk that that may be a decision maker, or they drag their feet a little bit to make a decision or give you the information you need. They have something going on over here that we're not always privy to as the PM.
That's so true. And especially in a tricky economy. And I mean, I can tell you even in my experiences in disaster recovery, and I've been on contracts since, but that was my first introduction to how much that changed things. We were all on board at the beginning of this project, and so many people were close and friendships and everything was absolutely wonderful. Now we knew it was a 3-year duration. We knew there was an end date. However, when it got about 4 months from the end date, fear took over. People started behaving differently, looking side-eyed, tattling on people because they were jockeying for power because there was that fear of being laid off.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I found it weird. I was just like, okay, this is really strange, because I wasn't in a top position. I wasn't top management. It wasn't that. But I was onboarded quickly for the next contract, and some of the other people who sent me their resume that I helped to get roles, it was the strangest thing because later they were like, you got on before me. And it was this weird dynamic. And I was like, but I helped get your resume through the door too. I was like, this is not a power thing. I had no control over that. But it just, fear is another unique thing too, to manage in project management when there's a lot of change in the organization too, just knowing that you may have to navigate differently because of that to get people to do what's needed to be done when they're scared of being laid off. It's
right. One of my first large projects, like multi-million-dollar projects, was for an organization. I won't say who, but they were leaving. They were leaving the Macintosh environment. This is like in the late 90s, early 2000s, right before Y2K. They were leaving the Mac environment to go to a Windows environment. And if you remember back in that era,
I
back when I
remember
had
Y2K thinking everything was going to end. Like I remember my New Year's Eve,
exactly,
and I was laughing about things, but people were
yeah,
really, whew, it
and
was
that
something.
and people that were, the Apple fans despise the Windows crowd and how clunky it was. And there was a huge contingency of folks that were not moving along with the project. And more than any other risk on that project was people. More than any other hurdle was people. And
Viva la
I mean,
resistance.
and
Yeah.
something that stuck with me was so the sponsor, we had this meeting and with like key stakeholders from all the different lines of business, and he said, "We pay you to do it, not to like it." And so his risk mitigation was just because, like, we're moving forward with this, and that
Yeah.
that stuck with me for a long time. That sometimes you just have to be blunt. Not always, but sometimes you have to be blunt. Like, this is the decision. There's nothing else to talk about. But other times, like you're saying, is yeah, we have to be a little bit more savvy in those conversations to lead people to the solution rather than tell them the solution.